Hello and welcome to the European segment of the third edition of Regeneration International's People's Food Summit. And we're pre-recording this session in Rome at the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. And we're here with a special guest, Pamela from the International Pollutants Elimination Network. Hi, Pam.
Hello, it's so good to meet you and talk with you today.
So what are we doing in this building today?
This is a meeting of the expert committee of the Stockholm Convention, and the Stockholm Convention is the world's only legally binding mechanism to end the production and use of the world's most dangerous chemicals.
So today you were organizing a side event with three guests. What were you talking about?
We were talking about better ways that the committee and generally the world can assess and move away from dangerous chemicals toward better and healthier systems. That includes agroecological systems, as well as moving away from dangerous chemicals that are used in industries and industrial processes.
So this is the People's Food Summit,
Yes.
and of course we're highlighting the importance of having chemical-free food systems and healthy food for everyone. And so the Stockholm Convention addresses what international policymakers would call the dirty dozen. So it's 12 well-known pollutants that need international regulation around them, and you have worked very hard to get this convention implemented. So could you explain to us what the work and your work on this, how it started and where it is at today?
Yes, we were involved in the very beginning of the negotiations of the Stockholm Convention that did work very hard over several years to ban the dirty dozen, as you mentioned, and these include some of the infamous pesticides and industrial chemicals like DDT and chlordane, PCBs and dioxins and furans. But the real strength of this treaty is that it has provisions to add new chemicals that we know can cause harm to the global environment. And I got involved with this because I live and work in the Arctic, and the Arctic has become a hemispheric sink for these persistent chemicals that move into the north on wind and ocean currents and contaminate the traditional food sources of the Arctic's indigenous peoples. And we know now that the Arctic indigenous peoples are some of the most highly exposed populations on Earth because these chemicals tend to concentrate in the traditional foods of the peoples of the north, and that affects their health and well-being, and these are very serious public health concerns. These chemicals are endocrine disruptors, and this includes pesticides as well as industrial chemicals. And so we are very interested in getting global bans on these chemicals to protect food systems around the world, and with an emphasis on my part in protecting the traditional foods of the Arctic. Well, at this meeting, we're addressing several chemicals, chemical classes. One is a class of chemicals that's one of the most high production industrial chemicals in the world, known as medium chain chlorinated paraffins, and they're used widely in plastics as plastic additives, plasticizers, and flame retardants, in metal working fluids. So they're a huge high production volume class of many thousands of chemicals that are quite complex. And so this committee is trying to decide how to make a recommendation to the Conference of the Parties of the Stockholm Convention to list this chemical for a global ban. And deliberations are happening at this meeting for that set of chemicals, as well as the pesticide chlorpyrifos, which we know is one of the largest use insecticides in the world. It causes many hazards around the world. And then also another large class of chemicals called PFAS, or perfluorocarboxylic acids, are under consideration here. And all of these chemicals are endangering the food systems of peoples around the world. So we see our work here as really trying to prevent further harm by eliminating these very dangerous chemicals.
We understand that a lot of these chemicals are being used in packaging, for instance, for products, but also in the way we produce food. Could you just sort of bullet point us the risks and what people can do about it?
Well, certainly the PFAS chemicals, the per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, are found widely in, as you said, in food packaging. They're found in the environment, so they're taken up because these chemicals contaminate water. So if people are working with water and agricultural systems, the plants can take up these chemicals and cause further harm. With the insecticide, chlorpyrifos and other pesticides, it's more direct because these chemicals are applied directly to many of our foods.
Is there a way people can take action either on a local level or maybe a more national, maybe a more global level?
Well, action can be taken from a local to international level, and for instance in Alaska we've passed ordinances in our cities and towns that would ban the use of these pesticides and other industrial chemicals and products. So we passed an ordinance, as an example, to eliminate harmful flame retardants that are found ubiquitously in children's products, including toys. We passed an ordinance that requires alternatives to the use of pesticides in our parks and public spaces. So there's a lot that can be done on that level, but ultimately we also need to work together at the international level again, because these chemicals don't respect political boundaries.
Okay, thank you very much,
Yes.
Pam. Thank you. Yeah.
Very excited to just be a part of this, and I look forward to tuning in and hearing all the other presentations and sharing of information. It's such a fabulous event.
Thank you.